Subscribers, welcome. And before we begin, subscribe and share, because today is one of those cases where a single image is worth more than 1,000 explanations. Last night, just a few hours before New Year's midnight, Yaman posted a story. An airport, a luxury suitcase, and one blunt, unadorned word, Dubai, nothing else. And that's when the fire started, because in that photo, someone was missing. Someone who, until recently, seemed inseparable. Sara Bluma. For months, we saw them together, hand in hand, showing the relationship openly, appearing at events and promotions, walking red carpets, becoming one of the most talked about couples. That's why seeing Khan heading to Dubai on such a symbolic night, and without her, triggered the inevitable question, is he spending New Year's alone? And while that doubt was exploding, Sara was posting at her own pace. Music, nightlife, behind-the-scenes moments from events. But what many noticed wasn't what she posted. It was what she didn't. No farewell, no shared plans, no image that said, "We're together." That silence was fuel. In the celebrity world, sometimes you don't need a statement. Absence says everything. In Khan's story, there were no hearts, no romantic lines, no shared future. Just Dubai? And here's an important detail. For him, Dubai isn't just any destination. In past interviews, he described it as a place to clear his mind, step away from the noise, and reconnect with himself. In other words, when he chooses Dubai, he often isn't celebrating. He's resetting. In fact, the hotel images reinforced that feeling. Stunning views, absolute calm. But a calm that many interpreted as loneliness. The comments were blunt. This isn't a honeymoon. This is a retreat. This is a period of reflection. So what's really happening? 3 scenarios are already circulating online, and I'll sum them up clearly. Scenario 1. Chosen solitude after an extremely tough year. Shooting schedules, pressure, exposure, back-to-back projects. Khan may have decided to stop and be alone to recover. Here, Dubai wouldn't be a crisis. It would be purification. Scenario 2. A silent breakup. The most discussed. Not because of public fights or aggressive statements, but because of a distance that, according to many, had been growing. Less interaction, 0 joint posts, and now, New Year's apart, no explosion, informatsiof. Scenario 3. A hidden surprise. The most mysterious and least confirmed. That Khan may not actually be alone, but doesn't want to show who he's with. There's no proof so far, but you know how this world works. A surprise is always possible. And there's another detail that feels key to me. In Khan's latest posts, people barely appear. No friends, no tables, no group, no celebration. There are places, landscapes, hotels, but no faces. And that only deepens the retreat atmosphere. That's why this night carries so much weight. In the entertainment world, New Year's is a showcase. Who you're with, where you are, how you celebrate. For couples who showed themselves publicly, that night works like a snapshot of the real status. And if that snapshot comes out empty, the message interprets itself. Now everyone is waiting for the same thing. The first move of the year. Will Khan post something new? A solitary coffee? An unexpected photo that shuts everyone up? And on the other side, a single post from Sara could flip the whole board. For now, the only certainty is this. Yaman is in Dubai. Sara Bluma doesn't appear with him. And in this world, that's never taken as a coincidence. Sometimes relationships don't end with shouting. They end in silence. And sometimes silence is the clearest answer. Lately, Every time I read comments about Can Yaman and Demet Özdemir, I'm left with an uneasy feeling. We're not just talking about a couple or a rumor, but about how the public tries to fill a void with a story that may never have existed the way many imagined. Some people say there's a new love, as if the calendar required new feelings, and others reply sarcastically, will they change every year? I see it this way. When a public figure clarifies nothing, silence becomes a factory of versions, and in that noise can ends up as the perfect target. What strikes me is a repeating contradiction. On one hand, Can is presented as the great seducer, the typical womanizer who jumps from relationship to relationship. On the other, he's expected to be almost a moral symbol, impeccable, coherent, transparent, correct in everything. And when he doesn't fit that image, judgment falls like a hammer. I'm not buying insults or easy labels, neither alcoholic or drug addict, nor that kind of condemnation without proof, because that's no longer criticism. It's destruction. But I do think Can, in the way he handles fame, has fed a problem. The sense that he plays with the narrative, appears and disappears, lets the public get its hopes up, and then watches from afar as that illusion breaks. And that's where Demet comes in, because for many people, she represents the opposite. Calm, dignity, the image of a solid woman. In the comments, you can feel that instinct to protect her, as if she were the noble side and he the chaos. I understand that reaction, but I also think it oversimplifies. Demet can be admirable without automatically turning Can into a villain. The issue is that Can projects a more explosive energy, more impulsive, more contradictory, harder to fit into a single version. And when a famous man is like that, audiences read it as manipulation or coldness. Sometimes it may be. Other times, it's simply someone who doesn't know how to build healthy boundaries around his own image. What feels most revealing to me is the phrase, "They fooled us with a couple that only existed in dreams." That says a lot. The public doesn't follow Can only for his work. They follow him for the romantic story invented around him. And when it falls apart, it's not just a rumor collapsing, it's an emotional investment. That's why depression shows up and I'm no longer interested in his life. Deep down, Can isn't punished for having or not having a relationship. He's punished for breaking the fairy tale others wrote in his name, and that he, one way or another, allowed to grow. My opinion, if I have to put it plainly, is this. Can Yaman is trapped between two masks, the actor who is supposed to be untouchable and the free man who doesn't want to explain himself. The problem is that fame doesn't let you be just free when your silence generates business, clicks, and fantasies. If he wants out of this loop, he has to do something many celebrities don't dare. Cut the ambiguity. Not confirm romances, but set real boundaries. Because as long as that fog remains, every new love will be another chapter of the same novel, and Demet will keep being used as a moral mirror to judge him. And in the end, to me, the saddest part isn't whether they're together or not. The sad part is seeing how Can, by not protecting his own narrative, has allowed his image to be reduced to the sentimental, the controversial, the womanizer, instead of being carried by what should matter more: his career, his discipline, his craft. If he doesn't regain control with clarity and maturity, there will always be someone ready to write the next story for him. And in that, nobody wins. Not Demet, not Can, not the audience that claims to want the truth, but is really looking for a tail to soothe its emotional hunger.